Picture this. You're standing in your own kitchen, but it doesn't feel like yours anymore. The walls are the same, the light's the same, but something in the air has shifted. It's 7 p.m. and she walks in. You know that look, the one that makes your stomach twist before a single word leaves her mouth. She doesn't scream. No, screaming would almost be a relief. At least then you'd know where you stand. Instead, she exhales that quiet sigh, that soft, surgical sound that slices deeper than any insult could. And in that moment, something inside you folds. You feel yourself getting smaller, weaker, like a man being erased in slow motion. What's worse, she believes she's being calm, reasonable, mature. She sees herself as the one holding it all together while you, the broken, clueless man, keep finding new ways to disappoint her. Here's what took me 37 years, 2 breakups, and 1 complete mental collapse to understand. A woman doesn't need to yell to destroy you. She doesn't need chaos or drama. All she needs is that perfect blend of disappointment and entitlement that makes you chase her approval like a boy begging his mother for love. And the sick truth? We let it happen. We even invite it, because deep down, we've been programmed to believe that her happiness is our report card. That if she's not smiling, we've somehow failed as men. I remember sitting in my apartment 3 years ago. No noise, no phone, no one left to impress, and realizing something that shattered me. Every decision I'd made for a decade, every tiny choice wasn't about me. It was about her. What would she think? What would make her happy? What would avoid that look, that sigh, that quiet disapproval that made me feel 2 inches tall? And the cruel punchline? Nothing. Nothing is ever enough for a woman who sees you as a project, not a partner. As a resource, not a man. As a disappointment waiting to happen. We've been sold a lie, a beautiful, deadly lie. If you just love harder, give more, sacrifice more, she'll finally see your worth. But that's not how it works. The more you give, the less she respects you. The more you bend, the more she pushes. The more you try to please her, the more she despises your weakness. This isn't a mistake in the system. It is the system. And it always starts the same way. First comes devaluation. Everything you do becomes expected. You work 60 hours a week. That's just being a man. You fix things? Basic responsibility. You spend time with the kids? Do you want a trophy? You buy her flowers? You must be guilty of something. Watch closely. Gratitude quietly disappears from the relationship. When was the last time she truly thanked you? Not the lazy thanks she tosses over her shoulder. Real appreciation. She doesn't thank you because, in her mind, you're just doing your job. You're the employee, she's the boss. You're the laborer, she's the quality inspector. But miss one detail. Forget to praise her cooking, her cleaning, her effort, and suddenly you're the villain. She's Wonder Woman for doing what both of you chose to do, and you're the ungrateful fool who doesn't appreciate everything she sacrifices. And then comes her sharpest weapon, control disguised as concern. Where were you? Who were you with? Why didn't you answer? You were online at 11:47, but didn't reply until 11:52. What were you doing for those 5 minutes? That's not love. That's surveillance. That's not connection. That's control wearing the mask of care. So here's the truth most men don't want to face. You can give her everything, and she'll still test you to see if you'll give more. You can love her completely, and she'll still wonder why she doesn't feel it. And the day you stop trying to please her, that's the day you start to reclaim yourself. Because the real tragedy isn't that she broke you. It's that you handed her the tools. Present it as though she is interested in your life, wants to know about your day, and cares about you. But in reality, she is placing a GPS tracker on your soul to ensure that you are aware that every second of your life is under her scrutiny and approval. This is where things start to become extremely weird. She hates you more the more you comply with her surveillance, the more you attempt to be open and accommodating to her need for control. She secretly doesn't want a man that she can manipulate. She desires a man who chooses to be with her despite her inability to control him. She is unable to assist herself, though. She must push, test, and determine how much you can handle. And a small part of her attraction to you disappears every time you put up with it. Every time you give your phone to her without complaint, and every time you tell your parents where you were and who you were with, much like a teenager would. I refer to this ongoing attitude of watchfulness as preemptive paralysis. You cease doing things because it will be too much work to explain them, not because they are incorrect. The interrogation that follows isn't worth going out for a beer with your pal. She'll wonder why your trip took 10 minutes longer, so you don't take that alternate route home. She'll assume you're trying to impress someone, so you don't join that gym. Your world gradually gets smaller until the only place you can feel safe is right next to her, acting exactly as she would like you to and being exactly who she wants you to be. That is, nothing at all. Let's now discuss conflict. She will claim to detest the daily battle, yet she is unable to quit making it. Every discussion turns into a minefield. Every encounter has the potential to become contentious. Every disagreement causes a relationship crisis. Here is what you should know about these conflicts, though. They have nothing to do with the dishes, how you loaded the dishwasher, or the fact that you neglected to get milk. They have to do with power. They are meant to ensure that you are aware of your position. They aim to keep you in a defensive anxiety state where you're constantly making excuses, attempting to put things right, and being incorrect. She is an expert at what I refer to as emotional terrorism. She knows just what buttons to press to make you react, to make you raise your voice so she can play the victim, to make you leave so she can say you don't care, and to make you participate so she can tire you out with pointless, never-ending debates. Because the goal was never resolution. The goal was to exhaust you, to sap your emotional reserves, to ensure that you had no more energy to comprehend what was happening to you. Additionally, she hits you with the expectations when you're emotionally spent and absolutely exhausted. You ought to be more sentimental. You ought to earn more money. Around the house, you ought to be more useful. You ought to spend more time with the children, but you should also allow her more room. In bed, you ought to be more assertive while simultaneously being more considerate of her requirements. In addition to being a provider, you ought to be emotionally accessible. You ought to be both strong and vulnerable. In addition to being self-sufficient, you should be totally committed to her. You should always be everything to everyone. And she gets to be disappointed in you once more when you ultimately fall short, because these demands are just not possible to achieve at the same time. This is a painful but potentially sanity-saving fact. She causes issues because she can only comprehend your attention when it is focused on problems. She has no idea how to live in harmony, tranquility, or even basic contentment. Like a plant requires water, she craves drama. Like lungs require breath, she needs conflict, because without it, she is forced to confront the awful fact that she is genuinely unsure of her identity and desires. All she knows is that she's unhappy, and that must be your fault because you are the man in her life. For more than 15 years, I saw my brother go through this. Began as this self-assured man who had his own company, hobbies, friends, and a life. After 15 years, he is requesting his wife's approval to stop for coffee on the way to work. He's justifying a disability as he explains why he needs new work boots. Because she claimed it would require too much time away from home, he has declined 3 promotions. However, she gripes that he's usually underfoot while he's at home. He's not even aware of it. He considers this to be typical. He believes that marriage is like this. He believes this to be love. However, this is what truly damages a man. What truly makes him feel nothing at all. It has nothing to do with authority, disputes, or criticism. It's the shifting objectives, the unachievable benchmarks, and the reality that the game is rigged, making suck. C'est pratiquement impossible. She wants you to be more emotionally accessible today. You start to open up. You talk about your insecurities, dreams, and worries. She will be repulsed by your weakness tomorrow. A man who cries is not someone she can be attracted to. Who is uncertain, who need assurance. Thus, you become more resilient. You get stoic. You manage your issues that you face. Right now, you're emotionally aloof. You're chilly. You keep everything from her. You're like living with someone you don't know. You genuinely incapable of winning sense, is not included in the design. The layout is to keep you constantly unsteady, continuously attempting to determine what she desires, continuously failing, continuously making a greater effort, as if you were in a casino where the house consistently wins. Yet you've gambled and you can't leave, playing a game throughout your life that you don't comprehend and are incapable of winning. Let me tell you what happened when I woke up, truly become aware of what was going on. I recently received a promotion, the biggest career, my life's accomplishment, something I'd worked for 5 years. I returned home. I'm thrilled to share the news. Additionally, you are aware. What did she say? This implies that you'll be home even less now. Not congratulations, not arrogance, not joy for my accomplishment, just instantaneous conversion into the manner in which this would adversely affect her. Additionally, in that, something clicked for a second. I became aware of that no accomplishment would ever be rejoiced. There would never be any success sufficient. No amount of self-proof would potentially cause her to perceive me as anything apart from a subpar service supplier who continuously fell short of her unspoken and ever-evolving anticipations. The most pernicious aspect is how she will portray everything as your inability to be a true dude. A true man would understand what she desires without being informed. A true man. Her moods wouldn't disturb her. A true man would supply whatever she needs, yet he doesn't require anything. A true man would be appreciative of the chance to assist her. She isn't ruining you. You see, she's simply that you're not living up to expectations makes me sad. To the best of your abilities. And isn't it fortunate that she's here to remind you all the time of all your shortcomings? And this is where the darkness really sets in. Following, you begin to believe it after years of this. You begin to consider whether you actually are insufficient. Perhaps you are very fortunate. She puts up with you. Perhaps you actually should be appreciative that she hasn't abandoned you. For a better person, your whole perception of self becomes distorted around her. Discontent. You forget who, before her constancy, you were. Disappointment became the theme music for your existence. You forget that you used to have self-assurance, pride, and a feeling of your own value that was independent of whether she was enjoying herself or not. The bedroom turns into an additional battleground, an additional location where you cannot possibly prevail. When you take the initiative, you're a beast with a sex obsession who only ponders just one thing. When you don't initiate, you don't find her attractive. No longer. I'm sure you're cheating. You have to be homosexual. There must be a problem with you. The actual sex turns into where's your performance review? Being assessed continuously and reliably. Discovered to be deficient. Too quick, too sluggish, too harsh, too tender, too dependable, too strange. Additionally, if you ever have a moment of dysfunction due to the fact that turns into a relationship crisis that needs constant conversation and assurance, but not excessive assurance since you're needy at that point. She uses her feelings as a weapon while preventing you from having any. When you have a poor day at work, the household must exercise caution. Because of your poor work day, you must. Don't bring negativity home. Man up. Her anxiety is legitimate and necessitates assistance. You are the source of your own stress, and you must manage it more effectively. Her tears are sincere displays of suffering. Your tears are a sign of weakness or manipulation. Her anger is understandable. Your rage is abuse. And despite all, she continues to. The story that says she's the one suffering. It was she who made the sacrifice. Everything. She is the one who is entitled to better. For you, she sacrificed her goals, despite the fact that you never asked her to. She may have had anyone, but she chose to. You. And notice how you pay her back. She handles everything for this family while you simply go to work, as though heading to work to provide for the family is a form of vacation, as though the stress of being the provider is a luxury instead of a burden. It's a calculated act of isolation. Your pals turn into issues. That friend, be the guy you've known since high school. Negative impact. He never did. Your brother liked her nevertheless. Your parents, they're too much of your life. One by one, your network of support is destroyed until her voice is the only one you hear. The sole viewpoint you hear, the sole assessor of your value. Additionally, after you're totally alone, there's nowhere else to go to get a reality check. The actual devastation starts at that point. She will change history so that you are the antagonist in all stories. At that moment, I forgot your anniversary, which is proof of your total indifference to the connection. That dispute you had 3 years ago proves that you are abusive. Patterns. All of your past errors. Created is categorized and stored for later use. Displayed whenever she needs a reminder. Why are you fortunate that she stays with you? Her errors, meanwhile, were merely responses to your shortcomings. Her cruelties were only responses to your inadequacies. You were the reason for her betrayals. The worst part is about to happen. The item that, while frequently enough to keep you interested, will occasionally really mess with your head. She'll be kind. The woman you fell in love with will be her. She will be kind, affectionate, and grateful. And you would think, this is it. We made progress. Now, things will be different. However, since that sweetness isn't a true transformation, it never lasts. All it is sporadic reinforcement. The most effective psychological technique for fostering dependency and addiction. These pleasant moments are designed to keep you optimistic, to keep you trying, to keep you thinking that you can always make her happy if you just find the proper combination. However, since her discontent isn't about you, you can't. It never was. She is unhappy because of herself, the hurts she carried for a long time before she met you, needs no human being could possibly have, and a gap that no amount of your sacrifice could ever satisfy. Her companion isn't you. You serve as her emotional support system. She uses you as a punching bag. You serve as her justification for why her life hasn't turned out the way she had hoped. She will continue to ruin you as long as you continue to act in that way and put up with that treatment. It's not that she's bad. Rather, it's that you're allowing her to ruin you because you consented to be destroyed. This may sound too easy, but the remedy is to stop contributing to your own demise. Give up attempting to please her. It's simply not doable, and it's not your job. Give up elaborating. You don't have to give her a detailed summary of your entire day. Quit apologizing for being human, for having wants, and for simply existing. Stop asking permission to live your own life. Give up viewing her disappointment as a problem that has to be resolved. I understand your thoughts, but she'll go if I do that. And perhaps she will. Let me ask you a question, though. What precisely would you lose? A woman who shows you no respect? A woman who thinks you're always letting her down? A woman who is gradually pulverizing your soul? That's not loss. That's freedom. Regaining your life is that. That is keeping in mind who you were before to playing a supporting role in her drama. The fact is that a woman who genuinely loves you doesn't want to ruin you, which is why it took me so long to realize this. Instead of acting as your boss, your critic, or your judge, she wants to develop alongside you, grow with you, and face life as a partner. She wants you to be successful, honors your accomplishments, and encourages you during your setbacks. She doesn't keep score, harbor resentment, or use your weaknesses as leverage. Rather than always taking away from your life, she enriches it. A lady isn't in love with you if she makes you feel weaker, smaller, or less than who you are. She may be reliant on you, require you, or be afraid of being by herself. However, that isn't love. Love never fades. Love intensifies. Love doesn't exhaust. Love gives you energy. Anxiety is not caused by love. Peace comes from love. It's not love if what you're going through doesn't feel like that. Something else is involved. something poisonous, something that, if you allow it, will eventually devour everything positive about you. Right now, I want you to take action. When was the last time you felt truly content, at ease, and like yourself? Was she present, or were you alone or with friends or anywhere but with her? What does it say about the value she adds to your life if the happiest times in it are the times she isn't there? What does it say about the burden she puts on your soul if you feel lighter when she leaves and heavier when she comes back? You only have one chance at life, and you're wasting it being gradually destroyed by someone who views you as an emotional janitor and ATM. You're using it to express regret for who you are, dying a little more every day to make someone else comf, or table in their dysfunction, and shrinking to fit within her limited idea of what is acceptable. Is that really how you want to spend the next 10, 20, 30 years? Do you wish to abandon that legacy? Do you wish to set such example for your kids? Because this dynamic teaches your children the following lessons. Your sons are being taught that males are there to appease women's feelings, that their wants are unimportant, and that love entails putting up with rudeness. Your daughters are learning that they can treat men however they want, that their feelings are more important than anyone else's, that they deserve to be catered to simply because they exist. You're not merely ruining yourself. You are educating the next generation about what love looks like, and that this damage is commonplace and acceptable. The escape is easier than you would think, but more difficult than you might expect. You must be being viewed as the villain, since she will portray you as egotistical, cruel, and desolate once you cease engaging in the dysfunction. Her disappointment has dominated you for years, so you must be prepared to let her down. And letting go entails losing interest in it. Being by yourself is far superior to being with someone who makes you feel lonely, so you must be willing to be alone. Begin modestly. Refuse anything without providing an explanation or justification. Leave the residence without giving a thorough itinerary or requesting permission, even if she tries to dissuade you from it. Maintain your position if it differs from hers. See how she responds. See how she gets out of control. Observe how she uses every manipulation technique in her toolbox to get you back in line. Then observe how she will either have to respect you or show her true self if you don't give in, if you don't break down, if you don't return to being her submissive servant. Some women will actually make better spouses when they are paired with a man who won't ruin them. They will adapt after realizing that the control and drama weren't making them happy or working. However, many won't. Many will intensify until the partnership is no longer viable. And that's okay, because a relationship isn't worth saving if you have to acknowledge that it will end in order to keep it continuing. The most crucial thing to realize is that treating her poorly or turning into some sort of dictator is not the goal here. It's about respecting oneself, setting limits, and living a life that doesn't depend on her approval. Being a whole person rather than a supporting role is the goal. It's about keeping in mind that you are important. Your requirements are important. Your pleasure is important. Additionally, anyone who makes an effort to persuade you otherwise is unworthy of being in your life. Look, I understand that this is difficult to hear. I am aware that you have likely been in this relationship for years, if not decades. I am aware that there are most likely children, shared resources, and an entire existence centered on this dysfunction. However, it is not honorable to remain in a position that is ruining you. It's not being a decent man or a nice father. It's sending the message to those around you that treating you like trash is okay. And after a while, you'll begin to think you deserve it. You're not worthy of it. You should have a partner who sees, values, and supports you for who you are, not just what you can do for them. You are entitled to tranquility in your own house, comfort in your own bed, and the liberty to be who you are without unrelenting criticism and condemnation. A woman who enhances your life rather than continuously detracts from it is what you deserve. You have an option. You can keep allowing her to ruin you one by one until all that's left is a hollow shell going through the motions. Alternately, you may quit contributing to your own demise. Take back your life and find someone who genuinely wants to be with you, not just for what you can offer or change a relationship. In any case, acknowledging what is occurring is the first step. Recognizing that this isn't typical and that it's not love. You don't have to accept this either. The choice you make today will affect who you will be in the future. The life you could lead, the peace you could feel, the man you could be. Everything is just waiting for you to be willing to quit destroying it. Don't put off taking action for another year, month, or day. Avoid waiting until you are completely gone. Now is the moment. You have an option in your life. Your real life, not this mediocre existence you've been putting up with, is just waiting for you to make the decision to pick yourself. Music